Now, everybody knows that cybersecurity is a hot topic, and it's going to be hotter and hotter as time passes by. And there's a reason for this, because we tend to have more electronic systems. We're based for these systems to assist and help us. It's a good thing, but obviously this makes us more vulnerable to this kind of attacks. So, according to the World Economic Forum, the #1 non-natural threat to the global risk landscape is going to be cybersecurity. So this is important, and this is becoming more and more important for the maritime industry also. Let's see a video.
If you've ever had a computer virus or been the victim of an email scam, you'll know it's no joke. And it's definitely no laughing matter if something similar happens at sea. There are now growing concerns that cyber threats are closing in on shipping.
They're coming. They're absolutely coming. As technology changes, as we use more technology, as we have more and more ubiquitous connectivity, you're just going to get more and more cyber threats.
10 years ago, many ships weren't networked, they weren't patched up, and nowadays with the reduction in crew sizes, there's an increasing dependency on the electronic devices and communications back to shore, back to other ships. That in turn has increased the cyber security threat.
However, with the growing complexity and services provided from shoreside networks via the internet, onboard systems are increasingly vulnerable to cyber attacks. Safety of the ship has entered a new dimension. As the global maritime community, ports, vessels, and facilities are increasingly connected to and dependent on computer systems, the consequences of a cyber incident can be significant. A recent survey revealed that over 50% of all shipping companies worldwide have already fallen victim to various cyber attacks, a trend that is rapidly growing. Cyber attacks and cyber spying can be performed by almost anyone, as many of the hacker tools are readily available on the internet. So cybersecurity is much more than a simple technical fix that solves all problems. It is just as much a question of culture and attitude as it is technology. It should therefore be a core part of any business, and successful strategies will require changes to organizational structures and mindsets of all seafarers.
So what's the takeaway here? The important takeaway here is that obviously this is a technical issue, but it's not only a technical issue. It has to do with culture and how we see things. And as things become more dependent on systems, we're becoming more vulnerable to cyber attacks. And by the way, 90% or even more that of the incidents of cyber attacks are based on the individual. So people, when I mean individual, not the hackers or the bad guys, individual like ourselves, they're doing something without thinking. So this presentation is about focusing on those things that we may be doing without thinking, and maybe think again before doing those things. Because something simple as clicking a link in an email may have serious consequences in a personal level, if it's a personal email, or in the company level, if we're talking about the company network. So at this point, to prove to you how vulnerable we are, just think about, if you lose your cell phone, what kind of dangers does this expose to you? If I get your cell phone and I'm a bad guy, what kind of information can I get from you? Think again? Everything. All right. Can you be more specific? Anybody?
Bank account.
Very well. Bank accounts. Anything else?
Email.
Email. My email address, but also my email text messages. What else?
Personal data.
Personal data, very well. Who am I, where I live, whatever. What else? My personal files. What else? Contacts, my contacts, that's more important. Okay?
Like the credit cards, bank cards. So
Very well. Credit card, all that kind of stuff. So you see how important this is. This is. These are all things that you said. We have current and recent location. It's on your phone. What else? Text messages you already said. Recent phone calls. Who did I call recently? Passwords that I have used if I logged in from my phone. Most probably my passwords are in there. Browsing history. Which sites did I browse? Which sites have I accessed recently? Credit card and bank info, as you already said. Most of us, we do our web banking through our phones. ID, social security numbers, names, address, phone numbers, you see, contact list, contact details, and even some recent deleted or current files. So all these things are now, because we are accessing our phones, from our phones we access the web, everything is in there. So you see how difficult it is. If somebody have lost his phone, so you realize how many of those things you need to change, and how difficult it is to gather up all those things. Imagine this data to be in the hands of someone who wants to hurt you. So this is serious. This is very serious. So, cybercrime statistics, here's some cybercrime statistics. 73% of Americans have experienced cybercrime so far. By the way, our company had a denial of service attack a couple of months ago, a month ago. Office personnel, all the office lost capability to use email for a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours. It was because of a denial of service. 78% of Americans believe that cyber criminals will not be brought to justice. Why is that? Because there's a complicated legal network on this. Sometimes, somebody is doing the attack on from Russia, and they connect the server to Jamaica, and then they connect the server to China, and then they attack you in Greece, let's say. So, under which law all these connections, under which law should these connections abide? It's difficult. So, there are difficulties like this. And according to the data, 98% of Americans believe that they will experience cybercrime in their lifetime. So if you think that's not going to happen to you, most probably it will. Most probably it will. So we will discuss here a little bit about how we can resolve some of the issues. At least we make this more difficult for the bad guys. So this is all about what we have to do. Let's see and we'll discuss.
Although high-profile attacks are generally carried out by criminals, most cybersecurity incidents are triggered by employees, often by mistake. For example, if they click on a link or attachment in an email, or insert an infected USB drive or personal device, such as a mobile phone, into a computer. The effect of a breach may not show up immediately. Criminals may wait for some months, choosing the best moment to strike. The risk of infection is increased in port or whenever someone new arrives on the ship. This might be terminal staff, service engineers, or other visitors who bring viruses aboard on laptops and tablets, or on other removable media, such as memory cards, USB drives, and smartphones.
USB ports, because of their nature, are completely open. This means the virus could be on the payload on the disk, on the drive. When they plug it in, they could access the network, spread a virus around the vessel, or spread malware.
08-111, eh? Yes, that's right.
Most vessels, you can go on board with a USB stick and print out any files you wanted, especially for operational needs. And that's how viruses get in, to be honest.
For example, be aware that TV or movies downloaded ashore could bring viruses on board that could damage the ship's network. And never plug in an unknown USB drive. that you find on a desk or other surface. It could contain malware and have been deliberately placed there.
What we have seen is crew members coming on board ships with USB sticks that they've maybe bought cheaply. They don't know the full contents, and it's believed that some are already diseased when they're purchased.
This is why antivirus programs should always be set up to scan removable media automatically. If you or visitors need to use removable media, check the program settings to see that the scanning hasn't been turned off. And as an extra security measure in case they are misplaced, it is recommended that the ship's USB drives are encrypted. Cybersecurity risks can also be reduced in a physical way. By locking cabinets that hold computer hardware, network connections, and cabling. Blocking open network sockets, USB ports, and CD/DVD drives. Naming USB drives for specific roles. Not leaving third-party technicians alone while they use the ship's computers or work on safety-critical systems. And ideally, providing surveyors, agents, and terminal planners with their own dedicated computer that's not connected to the main network.
So how often did it happen to you when you're aboard the vessel? What state control comes aboard the vessel? It says, okay, I need to print out this form. Can you print it for me? It gives you USB. It's almost natural thing. Okay, so what you do, you just plug in the USB on your computer, you just put it out. Now you're going to say, okay, now but what state control wants to harm me? Maybe not necessarily, maybe they have infected the USB without knowing it. Sometimes this malicious software is inside your USB, doesn't do anything unless it's triggered to do something. Okay? It's not that everybody would do something on purpose. They may not know that their USB has malicious software installed. The same with the cell phones. In your cell phone, if you plug your cell phone into the ship's network, or into the office network, your cell phone may be infected, you wouldn't even know, with malware. So this is the idea. The easiest way to infect a network or a computer is through a USB. Very easy. Especially if it's a USB that goes to multiple vessels. Now, the port state guy, the same USB that is inserted in your PC, is inserted in the previous vessel, the previous vessel. It only takes one vessel to have an issue, so that this can go to all the other vessels. So it's not as simple as it looks. Now, good practice would be, have a dedicated computer with a printer, not connected to anything, just plug it in there. So if this is harm, no harm done. The most important thing is not to let malware go inside the network of the vessel. So do not connect personal devices to ship's network. For the most part, our ships, the network PCs, the network computers, are for the most part protected by IP from the company. How about your PC? Is it? How about your cell phone? Is it? How sure you are that it is? It's much easier for your PC or your cell phone to be infected than the company's PC. So don't connect personal devices to network. That's important. Another one: do not leave unattended external personal access in your network. Use dedicated PC, not connect to ship's network for printouts, etc. We're not saying that everybody is, is a bad guy and wants to harm us. But sometimes, inserting a USB in the company's network may create issues without them knowing it that it creates issues. That's another one. Now, this is a real fact. There are incidents where people that they're infecting the USBs, they are leaving them here and there. So you go see a USB, you take it, you just insert it in your PC, and there you have it. Sometimes the malicious software may take months to get. Now, if you insert your USB to the PC, once it connects to the internet, your PC talks to Mama, and then they realize that your PC is infected. And they can do things. How about that? Do you have a security installed with your cell phone? Or your PC? Most of the people, they have security programs installed in their PCs, but some people, they don't have security installed in their cell phones, because cell phone viruses are newer. They're not that new now. We should be aware of this. But, PC viruses are, a thing that we know they exist. Cell phone viruses are more new. So you need to have a cell phone, you need to have a security suite installed. Which security suite? I don't know. Here there are a lot of logos. Which one is best? If you want to find out which one is best, you go out on the internet, there are reviews for PCs, for PC suites. Okay, but the important is, I'm not saying use this specific one, but just use one. If you don't use a security suite on your cell phone or on your PC, it's not a matter of if you're going to be infected, it's a matter of when.
Ask people who has got a security, antivirus thing on their cell phone.
Do you have antivirus suite on your cell phone?
Yeah.
Who has? Who doesn't have?
Who doesn't have? Hands up, come on, keep them up. Right, so I asked the IT department, and they told me that Avast, which is the top right hand one, is a good one for Android telephone. So if someone has a smartphone and don't have it, try Avast.
You try Avast and get search.
That's what our IT department. Yeah.
So there are a lot of those. If you go to PC reviews, virus reviews, all you have to do is go to the internet to find the best, the best ones, the dropping ones, whatever. But do something about this. It's important. If you use your cell phone to connect to the internet, you should have a security suite installed. There are even free versions of the security tools. I would suggest you will pay something. It's not, in most cases, it's not very expensive. But even if you don't want to pay, just get something free. But get something. It's important. Okay. So, by the way, if I have a security suite installed, am I 100% safe? No. I'm still not 100% safe. So why bother? It's the same thing when you go to your apartment. Do you lock the door? I hope you do, right? You do lock the door. Do the thieves can bypass the door and can they break in? Of course they can, but that's not the reason not to lock the door. Because the more things we do, if we have one lock, second lock, whatever, it makes it more difficult for the bad guys to break in. Not to mention that in cybersecurity, what the hackers are doing is they're probing for weak links. If you are not the weakest link, for the most part, they go to the weakest link in the attack. So it's not just, it's exactly the same thing if you go to your apartment, you lock your apartment. Because somebody else's apartment would be unlocked and they would get in there. Okay, that's the idea. So, another important one is avoiding sending personal data in public networks. Now, do you usually connect in public networks? Well, I can't tell you, but Azimuth Hotel network is a public network. It does require your room number and your name, but it's not a secure network. So if you connect to Azimuth Hotel network, you're connecting to an unsecure network. So what does this mean? This means that if someone potentially wants to probe what you're doing, they can. So what does this mean for you? It means don't pay something with your credit card when you're connected to Azimuth Hotel network or to another network. You will see this in most cases, in most PCs or cell phones, when you're connected to an unprotected network, they will say this is a public network. So if you first of all try not to connect to public network, but if you do, okay, connect but just browse. Don't buy something, don't log into something. Okay, the problem here is that it doesn't happen every time. That's the problem. If every time it would happen, why people would plug in a USB drive? So why people do not use security suites in their cell phones? It's not because they don't know, it's because the chances of something happening is not very high. If every time you plug in to local network, something bad was happening to you, you would know. The problem is that out of 30 times that you will do this, one time you will get infected. So that's the idea. So for the most part, you just plug into your USB and nothing happens. So it gives you an idea of false safety. Okay, doesn't happen very often. So I'm safe. That's the idea. So if you are connected to public network, don't import to the public network your login data, your USB card, your card, your bank account, and cards and information, stuff like that.
Phishing is one of the most common cyber breaches, where criminals trick victims into revealing personal financial information. Often they will have found out facts about you or your company from the internet and social media sites.
One of the things that people tend not to think about is when they're interacting publicly on technology media, so social media, not because of privacy issues, but because that information can be used to craft emails to then send to you that appear relevant to your particular situation. You should be wary that the people you're speaking to aren't necessarily real people, and you should be careful of that when you're sharing information. However long you've built up a relationship with them, if you haven't met them, if you haven't spoken to them, if you don't know them, people are making money from this. It's in their interests to fool you into sharing information in some way.
Using social media, criminals might send you a message, maybe liking something you have posted. The message may even look as if it's come from someone you know. Someone who has perhaps friended you in the past. If you are not careful, you may either authorize money to be taken out of your account or give away login credentials without realizing it. And clicking on a link or opening an email attachment runs the risk of contracting a virus. When in doubt, delete suspicious emails immediately. And always check whether emails asking for confidential information about the ship are authentic.
We've received emails pretending to be from the bunkering company saying that they've bunkered one of our vessels and that they require payment. The only thing's wrong with they sending it to the wrong people and from email addresses that didn't match the bunkering company. And we didn't do bunkering at that time. So we know it was not an original email, but they were asking for payment.
Most common forms of cybercrime is social engineering, which is the art of manipulating people into revealing confidential information that can be used to gain unauthorized access to personal or company systems.
Okay, time to go fishing.
All right, so we prepared some fake emails for the rest of the crew, sent from the shipping company, asking them to verify critical information like usernames and passwords and bank information.
All marked as urgent, of course.
Perfect. Phishing emails are, as always, top-notch. Let's just hope no one looks too closely at where they lead.
So-called phishing emails is a widely used method, asking you to click on a link, and because the email seems to come from a trusted source, you follow the instructions provided. If the spelling is dodgy, it's a true sign of a fake, and you will probably react to it. But today, hackers are becoming more and more sophisticated, and by the time you realize that something is wrong, it is usually too late. Your information, be it usernames, passwords, personal ID, credit card information, or even bank account details, is collected and may be sold to the highest bidder on the dark web, or they use it themselves in targeted attacks.
So phishing is real, it can happen. A couple of years ago, I got a text on my message, on my cell phone, and it said, I'm the blonde girl that was opposite to you in the bar last night, and I'm interested. Are you? Good thing was that I wasn't there with the bar last night, so I knew. It was, after this text, it was, was circulating.
It was from me.
It was from you. What did you say? I'm cybersecurity. So, but it's real. It's a couple of years ago. This thing was circulating in Greece. So it was. I don't know if it circulated anywhere else, but it was circulating. So click here, and you know what happened. So phishing is real. It happens, and I have some examples here. Okay, these are actual examples. Actual emails. This actually came from my personal email. It says, from Alpha Bank, whatever, dear customer, we have observed that your password was unchanged for longer times. We recommend to be kind enough to change your password for your own safety. Please follow the link below to change it. Okay, so what's wrong with this business? What's blinking here and something's wrong? What do you say? Don't tell me you fall for this. Okay, what's wrong? Tell me. Anybody say again? Mail address. Okay, mail address is good. That's a good sign. The mail address supposedly comes from my bank. But look at the domain. It says alphagroup.edu. Banks don't have .edu accounts. .edu don't have a university, a school, or whatever. So that's one sign. What else? Grammar mistakes is always an indicator. It says here, your password was unchanged for longer times. And it says, follow the link below to change it. When this practice started happening some years ago, there was a lot of mistakes on those emails. Now, the emails are correct, so you won't see a lot of those indicators. What's another problem with this email? What's another problem? If your bank wants you to change your password, what's going to do?
But they never send message.
Right. They never send a message like this. They will wait, and whenever you try to log in, they say, okay guys, you need to change your password. That's what your bank will do. They're never going to send you an email saying, click here and check your message, check your password. By the way, whenever you say click here, sometimes it may even look like it's a real website. Always check on the actual web address. They may go to the bank account, the bank website. They may create another website looking exactly the same. You think it's your bank, but instead of going, let's say, www.alphabank, whatever, it would go to my place. Now I'm going to do to you all that I'm going to do. So here are some indicators. Look for strange things to happen. So here are the indicators. So as you said, all these are indicators something's wrong. Here's another one. This comes from Gmail. Now most email. I understand there's something wrong. Now Gmail tells you this method seems dangerous. Then it says, I'm contacting you to retrieve his high deposit, whatever. So no, I don't want his high deposit. I'll leave it alone. What else? Here it says, hello Konstantinos. These are all real messages. This guy, whatever, I don't know who he is, send you a message. Click here to see the message. Okay. Take a look at the email address. Who's going to have an email address like this? It's a strange domain, right? Strange domain. So normally, who would have such an email? Someone who doesn't want you to know who he is. Okay? So it's a strange email. Here, they don't only send it to individuals, they send it to companies also. This one, it says, they send to marine department from Thailand. So they said, I have 66 million to disperse from overpayments. made from international code application anyway. On completion of all the transactions, you will receive 39%. So do this for me, and I'll give you 39% of 6 billion. Okay. We didn't do it, we lost 6 billion.
People who've been on the ARC-7 list and on the ARC-4 that are working on Yamal know that the Filipino personnel are going to do this polo training in Ibis in Subic Bay. We had a case with the Fruity Park whereby we were being invoiced for these, things we were going to pay system. The girl who was dealing with the finances, she got an email supposedly from the training provider saying, please do not pay our invoices because we're in the process of changing our bank details.
Hello? Okay. So it said, don't pay our invoices because we're in the process of changing the bank details. Then they sent another one again. It was so close to the woman's actual email address. There was a comma or something instead of a dot in the name. So initially it wasn't looking there. And then the woman called us up and said, why haven't you paid the invoices? And we said, because you sent us 2 emails telling us not to pay you because you're changing your bank details. The amount that we would have paid was probably around about $80,000 if we'd have paid it to the wrong person. So you can see how clever they are getting. It was just a fluke of luck that we caught it in time. So they're getting really clever. You will really have to be on the ball with cybersecurity.
So, you see, they're not just targeting people, they're targeting whole companies now. Here's another one. It says, now obviously our system got it, that is possible spam, but it says here, this message is sent to you to inform you that your mailbox account will expire on September 20, 2019. If you wish to continue this account, this is Marine. This is Marine account, Marine of Dynacom. If you wish to continue using this account, please upgrade to our services in 48 hours. Ignoring this message will cause this account to be closed. And thank you, it says Dynacom Security Accounting. So when you receive this, it says, okay, Dynacom is telling me click here to upgrade my account. But look at the email address. The supposedly Dynacom Security Accounting has an email of gpt@frbqbank.com, whatever. Most probably it's not Dynacom Security. These are all real incidents. If you click here, who knows what's going to happen? So, here's another one. That's a more difficult one. This is a very, very clever one. The previous one was not that clever. Look at this one. It's kind of the same thing, and only it's an urgent thing. Look at this. It says, webmail administration notice, your mailbox is full, failure to increase your mail capacity may result to shutdown of your mail account. It says it comes from webmail admin Marina PM, and look at the address now. It says it comes from email administrator at hermes.gatewaynet.com. Now, Dynacom and Dynagas has gatewaynet.com accounts. So this is even more difficult. Of course, this is a fake email, but they even fake the domain. So if I see this, it's the gatewaynet account comes from Dynacom, I'm not saying. So you see how difficult it becomes. So you need to have your eyes open.
User login passwords should be memorable and strong, but at the same time, not too easily guessed. They should contain a mix of upper and lower case letters and numbers. Above all, they should never be written down. If a password has already been taped to a computer, it should be removed.
Who has not seen a password written under the keyboard or stuck on a post-it note on the screen? Most people do that, okay? But it's important not to do this, because why would I have a password if I just stick it on a post-it note on my screen? Everybody passing by would know my password. So this is important. So the passwords, I'm going to talk a little bit about passwords, this is important. So how would your password be? The first thing is avoid using oversimplified passwords like 1234 or St. Petersburg 2020 or no dictionary words. Because the bad guys, they do something they call dictionary attack. Now, on a PC system, if I get all the words from a dictionary and try to test it out with your password, this will end in how much time do you think? How much time does it take for a PC? A normal PC, my PC, your PC. How much time does it take to automatically run a script and check all the dictionary words of a dictionary, electronic dictionary, to password account? How much time does it take? Say again? 1 minute, couple of minutes. So it's really easy now. So don't use dictionary words. If you use dictionary words, as if you're not using any passwords. So, what else? Don't share your password with your friends or your colleagues. First of all, your friends and your colleagues may not be as security prone as you are. So they may be infected. They may give away your password. Not to mention that colleagues of today may be ex-colleagues of tomorrow. And you never know. Sometimes even friends of today may be ex-friends of tomorrow. And you never know. Another thing is, avoid using one password for everyone, for everything. So who is using different passwords for different things when they access the web? Who's using different passwords? Who's using the same passwords? Okay, so why do we tend to use the same passwords? Because it's very simple. Right, it's simple. I can't remember a lot of passwords, it's difficult. So how would they resolve this? If you have a security suite installed, most probably it comes with a password manager. So a password manager, what it does is, you log into the service, and then the service creates a different password for each service that you use. It's completely, you wouldn't even know. For you, it's you don't see this, but it's different passwords. This is important because, if I use the same password for my bank account, for my email account, and for my Facebook account, obviously you realize that the Facebook account is less secure than my bank account. My bank account is very difficult to break, because that's what banks do. Okay? But Facebook, okay, it may have some security issues, but if you're interested enough, you could be able to break into your Facebook account. So the idea here is, if you use the same account I'm going to break, they're going to break your Facebook account, they're going to check this password with every account that you have. And they're going to have access to your bank account. That's the idea. So you need to have, now, if you use something like a password manager, you are using one password to access the service. Someone may say, okay, how about if they break the service? Okay, there's always this chance, but breaking the service is very difficult because that's what the software do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not, if they break the password of the password manager, then there's no need for the password for the software to exist. That's far more difficult. So, now, use a password. The idea is use a password that it's easy for you to remember, but difficult for others to guess. At least 8 characters long, it has small letters, capital letters, numbers, and alphanumeric characters. You know how you create alphanumeric characters, right? You push shift, and then you click on the numbers. These are alphanumeric characters, like exclamation point and stuff like that, dollar sign, stuff like that. Now, the problem is, okay, I got this. Use a password easy for you to remember, but difficult for others to guess. How do I do this? It's difficult. Easier said than done. So how do you do this? I'm going to give you one method of doing this. I'm not saying this is the best method, but this is one method that works. So let's go for a couple of steps here to see how you can create a password that's easy for you to remember and difficult for others to guess. So step one is start from something. Start from something you always remember, that has letters and numbers. Okay? Start from something that you always remember, that has letters and numbers. In my case here, it's my first name is Kostas. I guess you won't forget your first name. If you forget your first name, then you have greater issues and problems than cybersecurity. And the date of birth is 17970, September 17th, 1970. So this is a number, this is letters and numbers that I always remember. I know my name and my date of birth. Okay? So you always remember this unless you have Alzheimer's. So if you have Alzheimer's, that's another issue. So you start from something to remember. My first name and my date of birth. Now is this a secret password? Not really. Not really. So how can I make it more secure? This is a method. When I start typing these words and numbers that I remember, in the first 2 or 3 letters, I push shift on my keyboard. What would this do? It will capitalize, right? So Kostas will become K-O-S capital T-A-S. And then I do the same thing with the numbers. I said 17970. For the first 2 or 3 numbers, I do the same thing. And now Kostas 1790 becomes this. Now this is difficult to break. And at the same time, it's very easy for me to remember it, because it's my name and my date of birth. So that's why I'm proposing this method. It's not the only method, and you may not use your first name, you may use your girlfriend's name, although this may change. But anyway, so you may use other things, other important numbers for you that you always remember. Okay? So that's one easy way to create a secure password. By the way, if you get into all this trouble to create a secure password, don't post it. You can stick it on your screen. That's not a good idea. So, okay, some would say, well, you know what, but I'm not an IT expert. Why should I care? What's the big deal anyway for me? Here's the big deal.
Criminal attacks involving ransomware and Trojans often make headlines the world over. Ransomware paralyzes a computer system until the individual or company pays to regain control, while Trojans steal or manipulate commercially sensitive information. But attacks can also be state-sponsored or come from so-called hacktivists who want to raise awareness of a particular issue.
There is no definition of a hacker. They could be anyone. Could be the person you walk past in the street. Could be a child sitting in his bedroom with nothing better to do. Or it could be a group of people working together to bring you down. It could be political reasons. It could be commercial reasons. Or it could be just for fun.
Any computer may become infected. Not only a vessel's IT, its day-to-day admin systems, but also its OT, or operational technology. The propulsion, power management and monitoring systems, navigation, and cargo management systems. All ships have at least some computer systems that are at risk. And many of these are safety critical. Operational technology and, in particular, integrated automation systems, IAS, and navigation equipment can be especially vulnerable.
Okay, so I've got access to the CCTV on the bridge wing and the audio from the VDR. Here you go.
John, there's something wrong with the Actis. 2 ships, nothing on the radar.
Is there any issue?
Can't see anything.
There's no issue. Must be something wrong with Actis then.
This is just incredible. Now let's slow down the propulsion.
We're losing speed. What's going on here?
There's something wrong with the IAS system. So we can go into manual then.
Still no response.
Seemingly small human errors can have large consequences. The navigation system can also be manipulated by electronic GPS spoofing devices, sending incorrect GPS signals, telling you that you are in a different position than what is actually the case. This type of attack doesn't require access to the vessel's network or internal systems. Ransomware encrypt files on a computer and demand that you pay to unlock your files. Once the malicious software has infected one computer, be it a personal or company computer, it may spread to others connected to the same network, quickly making it impossible to perform common tasks.
Well done, guys. Show's over. Let the ship know it was a drill.
Well, if they were doing that to my ship, I wouldn't react that way. I would have said something for the IT department. So you see, this is real, and this is important, and it goes even beyond losing some money from your personal account. It goes even beyond that. So this is real, this is important. So if you're scared by seeing this, you're right to be scared. So seemingly, things that you wouldn't even pay attention to, they're really, really important. So the problem is, not the problem, don't think that if you do this 100 times and nothing happens, it's not going to happen the next time. So that's pretty much what I have. If you have any questions? Okay, we're good to go. And for the next presentation, we have a very special presentation. We have a cadet from the Makarov Academy that's going to do a presentation for us. So please give him a very warm round of applause.